Oh, is it morning already? You wake up in pain, which is not a surprise since you got your ass handed to you last night. But what is surprising is that your wounds have already closed up. It must be because of the contract you made with Skaha. You close your eyes meditating like a hippie, and you feel this connection with your servant, as if you're linked with each other. With that out of the way, you want to further investigate this Holy Grail war, but you gotta go do your fucking job. As you're about to get ready to head downstairs, fuck! It's Skaha just barging into your room again. You tell her to pipe down and she responds with some ASMR. You're afraid that your wife will hear Skaha, so you tell her that you'll be out in 5 minutes. You quickly devour your breakfast and rush out to the front door. You're outside and Skaha looks at you like a fucking idiot. She offers you a ride on her motorcycle. You initially thought about refusing since you have a car, but you're too much of a beta male to refuse. You consensually wrap your arms around her waist and go off. While on your way to the academy, you both talk about doing some investigating. You told Skaha that you'll search for clues on the witch and possibly other servants while at work. She praises you on using common sense. You finish teaching the kiddies and you spot Brynhilder in the hallway. She seems to be looking at the exam result for all the students. It turns out Wilhelm got first place and she got second. Brynhilder looked frustrated and wanted to ask you something but puts it off for the next day. You finished work and Skaha is waiting for you outside with her arms crossed like a cool guy. You ask her if she has a cell phone and she doesn't even know what it is. So you go and buy her one. After teaching the boomer how to use the text of messaging, you both head home and get ready for the next day. After a long day at work, you remembered that you have to go talk to Brynhilder. So you go meet up with her and she looks pretty pissed off. The reason why she's so angry is because she was reading a fairy tale called The Daisy. So a short story even shorter. Once upon a time there was a bird and a flower. The flower really likes this bird. But one day they were both thrown in a cage by some kids. The bird starves to death and the flower also dies soon after. The end. The story really makes everybody depressed. But Brynhilder goes back on topic and wants to continue with yesterday's discussion. It's about Wilhelm. She talks about how Wilhelm is always getting first place in all of the exams. She doesn't know if she feels frustrated by this or not, so as an adult you give her the best advice ever. Just like, go talk about your feelings. Brynhilder does not take well to this advice. In fact, she strongly goes against it. But you say, nah, do it, you pussy. Ah shit, would you look at the time? You gotta hurry up and leave this boring ass conversation. You leave the room and we are now reading the thoughts of Brynhilder. She thinks about the advice you just gave her, but the thought of just talking to Wilhelm scares the shit out of her. She's afraid that she'll surely do something terrible if she does go talk to Wilhelm. While Brynhilder is having an internal crisis, someone comes into the room. Uh-oh, is that the witch? It looks like she's definitely up to no good. You meet up with Skaha outside of school and you guys head to a place called Kyuju Castle. Now, Kyuju Castle is basically the slum of Pyramid City. A dirty concrete jungle where crimes of all kind is a regular occurrence. We're headed there to see if we could find some clues. After searching, you go and meet up with Skaha again, and you both come up empty-handed. Dejected, you both ride back to the academy. On the ride back, Skaha apparently fucking lied and she actually does have some information. She mentions to you about a gang going around. They're called the Color Gang and their leader is a girl wearing an eye patch. There also seems to be a person wandering around wearing a strange white coat. Sound like future party members to me. It's the next day and you arrive at school, but there seems to be some kind of commotion. You rush to your classroom and you find that Wilhelm is dead. He's been burned to a crisp, and the police ask you to step away. As you do so, you notice that the corpse had silver hair. If you remembered correctly, Wilhelm has black hair, so something's not adding up. You quickly ask another teacher if Wilhelm's hair was always silver. They respond with a yes and you start questioning reality. All classes have been cancelled and you're still in shock about what happened. Skaha appears out of nowhere again and she starts investigating the crime scene. She theorizes that Wilhelm was killed with fire magic since the environment was pretty much left undamaged. She finds a primordial rune that even she can't decode. You decide to leave her alone, but then Angel pops up and basically has jack shit to say and adds nothing to the story. You step step out of the classroom and you catch a student from one of your classes. You ask him about Wilhelm since they were both in the same class, but you're shocked to find out that your student has no memory of him. Now that you're observing the other students more carefully, they all seem to be going about their day, as if a gruesome murder didn't just occur a few hours ago. As you're freaking out, you accidentally bump into Brynhilder. Her ass planted to the floor, she just has a depresso espresso face on her.
すみません。
You pick her up and urgently ask her if she remembers Wilhelm, but she quickly runs away from you. We head back into the classroom to see if Skaha figured anything out, but unfortunately she did not. At our wits' end, we have only until the 18th to solve this mystery before school closes for summer vacation. The next day arrives and we continue our investigation. We head into the Academy's faculty office to find any documented proof of Wilhelm. At first there's nothing, but you remember you have copies of a few school records at home. You hit your bitch up and ask if she could find those last exam results for you. She finds it and you ask her to read out the name of the top student. She reads it back to you, and it says Wilhelm. The next day you make a copy of the exam result with Wilhelm's name in it. You show it to another teacher and ask if she remembers his name. And like the students, she has no memory of him. She shows you the current school exam record and all of them have Brynhilder coming out on top. This is definitely strange. We must report our findings to Skaha. You show her everything you found. Skaha senses a bit of magic from the paper with Brynhilder on the top of the exam scores, and she reveals that this is the primordial runes doing from earlier. It actually messes with people's memories, but it's strange since it shouldn't be able to change physical objects. We are now getting closer to solving this mystery. School is ending and you still wanted to collect more clues. Suddenly, Brynhilder pops up from behind you. She steps in closer and whispers to you.
放課後、お話ししたいことがあります。教室に来てください。お願い。
It's now after school and you are in a classroom with Brynhilder. You have your suspicions about her. She has to be behind this weirdness somehow. Brynhilder starts to look at you like a maiden in love, but there's something wrong. There's an emptiness to her eyes. Wait, it couldn't be. The love potion. Which will never come into play later. Oh shit, here we go. A spear suddenly slashes at your cheek. You barely dodged it, but she throws your body across the roof. You look up and Brynhilder is no longer wearing her school uniform. Could it be? Ah, fuck, she's a servant! I could have never predicted this, ever! Brynhilder looks at you like a crazy person and tries to kill you.
あなたを愛しています。だから殺します。
You take out your magic notebook and cast a smokescreen to escape. As you make your escape, you notice that the hallway was completely different. It was filled with a bunch of blue crystals. You suddenly hear Brynhilder from behind. As you run down the hallway, you notice that the crystals had a bunch of people in them. For some reason, they all had Wilhelm's face. But you have no time to think about them. You must run. You're finally outside, but it's even worse than you thought. The whole academy is covered in crystal. As you wonder what to do, a figure slowly closes in on you. Oh, it's just Rama.
Oh my god.
He was just here to pick up a book, so he does jack shit for us. But thankfully, Skaha arrives and we all quickly escape. You all arrive at a restaurant to figure out what the fuck just happened. As you all try to figure out what to do, the news on the restaurant's television is broadcasting the academy covered in crystal. And then Angel suddenly pops up again. Angel tells us about what the dream fields are. They basically act as an anchor for any out of control servants within Pyramid City. And if you don't get rid of it, it will drain the city's mana at a dangerous pace, potentially harming the citizens. It also gives people the illusion that a dream field is completely normal. And if that sounds bad, it gets worse. Apparently, in the center of the city where the Grail is located is its own big dream field. If the Grail's dream field feels like another dream field is getting too big, it'll delete it to save itself. This means Brynhilder is in danger. You, Skaha, and Rama agreed to save Brynhilder. With determinations high, you head home to rest up. The next morning, you're eating breakfast with Raiko. As you're watching the news, you notice that they have completely forgotten about the academy. Almost everyone but you seems to have forgotten that the academy is still covered in large crystals. You theorize it's because you're contracted with Skaha, making you immune to these memory-altering effects that the dream fields have caused. Anyways, gotta go to the library. You all gathered around and discuss the situation at hand. It turns out Brynhilder is a servant. She's out of control, needs to be stopped. So we make this genius plan of stopping her. Great plan, everyone. We start tomorrow. We all head into Brynhilder's dream field. After walking inside, you notice that the interior has changed. It looks more like a castle now. Even though it's in the middle of summer, it's freezing cold. As you're freezing your nuts off, Skaha halts us from moving.
待て。
Confused, you began to notice the floor shifting like water. Arms begin to sprout out of the ground. The arms slowly gather up and form into a shape of a person. It looks like Wilhelm. As you stay on guard, a bunch more appear and attack. Skaha manages to defeat them all. The Wilhelm clones lay unconscious on the floor. You check one of their pockets and find out that this clone is actually one of the other teachers of the academy. In fact, these clones are actually students and faculty members that were still in the academy during the initial Brynhilder incident. Skaha tries to fix them with rune magic, but it doesn't work. Not because the magic itself didn't work, it's because in this dream field, that Wilhelm appearance is their true form. You can't do anything, so you continue onwards. You enter a room and you spot a huge crystal tree. It's blocking your path to the second floor and you need special rune magic to get rid of it. Now we do our first dungeon puzzle. After going through that bullshit, you can now get rid of the tree. The tree starts to break. But Skaha suddenly draws her sword.
構えろ。何か来るぞ。
The crystal tree shatters and out appears another Wilhelm, but this one is different. It claims to be the avatar of this dream field. It took on the form of Wilhelm because Brynhilder had the tiniest of attraction towards him, which in turn made her see him as Sigurd. This avatar is here to fulfill her wish of seeing Sigurd, and if you get in the way, it has no choice but to get rid of you. After defeating the avatar, he begs you to save Brynhilder and disappears, leaving behind a bloody leaf. With no more obstacles, we ascend the stairs to go meet Brynhilder. We're finally here, and Brynhilder has been waiting for us. She calls out to you as if you were Sigurd.
シグルド。
But then she suddenly writhes in pain. She's able to momentarily snap out of it and tells you to run away.
ここから離れて。
But she quickly goes back into a craze and attacks.
来るぞ。構えろ。私はもうあなたを殺したくない。お主の全力、わしが見定めよう。ブリューヒルデロマッシュ。 失せ果てクラウスカサ。
You've defeated Brynhilder. She collapses to the floor and her clothes transform back to the regular school uniform. As everyone relaxes, the dream field starts to break and fall apart. You all quickly escape. It's the next day and you're back at school. Everything is back to normal, except for the fact that Wilhelm is still dead, and no one even realized that the whole school was turned into a giant crystal palace. You finish your job and you get a text from Skaha. Brynhilder has waken up, so you ready yourself and head over to check on her. You've arrived at Skaha's apartment.
ようこそマスター。
As you walk in, Skaha warns you about the love potion Brynhilder was affected by. It turns out there's still some inside of her. It apparently got mixed with her spirit origin during the whole Dreamfield incident. Thankfully, it's only a tiny amount, but still dangerous since it easily influences Brynhilder into thinking a person is Sigurd. With that being said, let's go meet her. Brynhilder has been caught up on everything and finds out that she is a servant. You apologize to her, realizing that when you told her to just go and talk to Wilhelm, in her case, it literally meant you were telling her to just go kill him. Since for Brynhilder, getting involved with another person guarantees their death. You cut to the chase and form a master-servant contract with Brynhilder.
サーバント、ランサー、ブリューヒルデとしてあなたを私のマスターとして認めます。
After making the contract, she gets sleepy and starts to fall asleep, but she wants to hold your hand. She tries to tell you that a girl made her drink the love potion. It must have been that witch. Brynhilder also says to not extract the love potion from her and passes out. You leave the bedroom and start talking to Skaha. After confirming that the contract was made, she offers to train you,
お主、わしの訓練を受ける気はあるか？
and you accept this offer. Now you only need 5 more servants to save this city. Will you be able to do this? I fucking hope so.